Hello there, this is Sue at Miller's Laboratory. Thanks for joining me. This is going to be part 3 of my Extreme Flip-Flop Journal series. It will also be the final one. We're going to be finishing the book up in this episode. And so what we will be doing today is sewing the signatures into the book and then putting on the final touches. So what I have here is a book ready to go. I'm just going to flip through here and show you some of the papers that I've selected to put in the book. And I'm just kind of flipping through quick here, but I've got a real variety of different things, a lot of different book pages, and then some digitals. And this stack here, I have these separated into which signature that they're going to go into. So I'm trying to kind of keep them together here and not mess them up too much. But these are obviously going to be sized down a little bit. Here's a really cool old original ledger page from 1875. So I am putting some cool old stuff in there and a lot of vintage stuff. So this is going to go in the third book, these papers here. The first book already has them sewn in, and we're going to be sewing into this book for the video. So let me just put these aside here. Okay, so I've got my book here. We've got the signatures just already folded and kind of arranged how I want them. A lot of them I tore down a little bit to make them smaller. And let me grab my stitching box here, which is kind of a jumbly mess of stuff, but what we're going to be needing is some waxed thread, and I'm just going to use this really neutral color here. It's kind of unwound a little bit there. A needle and my pokey tool. I have one of these, which you can get anywhere, but I also have this one, and I like this one better. It's easier to hold on to, and you can get it into smaller spaces. Grab my clips out too. I don't know if I'll need them, but just in case. All right. So I'm sure that if you've ever made a junk journal, you probably already know how signatures are sewn into a book. So I will just show you how I do mine. And obviously we have like, I don't know how many signatures are here, 12 or something, and I'm not going to do all of them on camera, but we'll get started and then I'll turn the camera off, finish it up, and then come back to you. Okay, so we'll start right here with this first one. And I'm just kind of leafing through again here to make sure that everything is lined up pretty much how I want it. I think that looks fine. All right, so I'm going to orient it here where I want it in the envelope. And our envelope here where the masking tape is basically like our spine. If we were sewing into a book, this is our spine. Okay, so normally when I make a book, I'm very careful about measurements. And I often will use a book cradle that my husband made for me, which makes it really easy to poke the holes very neatly. And you can put a little template in there, and you can really make everything evenly spaced. But the theme of this book is grungy and junky, and so I am letting go of that craziness and just kind of being a little more casual with the measuring here. So I do want to kind of be centered here on the actual envelope. So I want to poke my hole right about here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to line this hole up, and I'm going to fold this down and kind of push so that my papers are all in there really good, and then just gently work my awl right through the tape there. And then we'll go up a little ways here and do the same thing here, and then we'll come down, and I'm just going to eyeball it, but I want it to be about the same. We'll go about here. Okay, so now we have our 3 holes. And if stuff is moving around a lot, you can clip it. That does help. I never used to be a clipper, but it does really help if you're struggling to keep things, the holes lined up. I always would have trouble with, you know, I would put it through and somehow the holes would get misaligned, and then I was like fishing around in there trying to get it through. So I go about 2.5. You can go 3, but usually you wind up cutting a bunch off and throwing it away. I don't want to waste it. Okay, and let's see how well we're gonna thread. Oh, look at that, it went right in. That's so good. All right, okay, so we're gonna go, let me think, did I stitch on the, yeah, I have the knots on the inside, so I'm gonna come through this way. It's always easy going the same way that you poked. It's harder to come through the other way. So we're going to come right through this way here. And hopefully we wind up in the middle of the signature. This is what I was talking about, where sometimes I have to fish around a little bit to get it in the right spot. There we go. There we go. This is a little awkward doing this on camera. I hope you can see it okay. And then I'm coming, this is just a 3-hole pamphlet stitch coming all the way down here to this hole here. Pull through, make sure I have my tail there. And then we're going to go back in that middle one here. And I usually just sort of pull this tail off to the side to keep from accidentally running my needle through that thread. And there we go. And we just want to be on the other side of that. Okay, so there's that one. Needle through. Okay. Now I tightened these down pretty well, but obviously you don't want to rip anything, so I'm just giving that a good tug, and we're going to tie a square knot there. Oop. And trim it. And if you're a dangly person and you like things dangling out, you can leave, you know, obviously use longer strings. I cut mine on the shorter side there. All right, so there's our first one. It's always fun to just kind of then page through and see how it works. I can remember the first time I made a junk journal. I loved it so much. I thought it was so cool that I put a book together. This one has a little stub in it here, so you can glue an envelope in there, a photograph, any sort of ephemera that you might want to save and make it into an extra page. Okay, all right, now we're just going to continue on flipping through this way. So I am going to go ahead and do one more, at least with you. And I wanted to show you this one. If you remember when we constructed this second part, I used a large, like an invitation envelope, and folded it in half and made a little flap on each side. And if you look at how this looks now, it looks weird because there's extra paper over here. So what happened was, after I had it all put together and I started putting the signatures in here just to try it out, this envelope was a lot wider than where this came under here, and when you tried to flip it back and forth, everything was getting hung up, and it just didn't work nicely. I was not happy with it. So junk journals, you can always fix. You can always find a way to fix something. And so what I did is I actually cut that envelope down the center. I'll open it up here so you can see. So I cut it apart and then put a piece of paper in there to extend it and make that into a hinge. So that's how I saved it. So everything's cool, everything still works just fine. Just looks a little different than when I showed it to you the first time, so I just wanted to mention that. Okay, so we're going to be putting our next signature here. And we're going to be just, again, eyeballing the arrangement of the papers, making sure they are lined up the way I want them. That looks pretty good there. All right. And I am going to just put a couple of clips in here because that really does help. These are those quilters clips, and they are pretty nifty for junk journalers too. Okay, all right. Now this gets a little awkward. The signature that goes here, I'm just going to take it out and set it over here for now so that paper's not falling out, because we kind of got all this stuff in our way and we need to stitch right into here. So let's line this up, and I'm just making sure that on the top here that this isn't, I don't want it to bump up against that envelope. I want there to be a little bit of space in between the two there. So this is where I want it. We're going to find the middle here, and it's about there. I'm going to go up a little bit, and we're going to poke that right through here. Hopefully we see it come through right about here. There it is. Good. All right. Come up a ways to about here and poke, and then come down a ways and poke at about there, I think. Okay. So I'm really excited to get these done, and I'm hoping to get them the video all done and get the Etsy listing done here soon too. My husband and I are going to be celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary the day after tomorrow, and so we're going on a little overnight trip, and I had hoped to get all of this done before we left. I'm not sure that that's going to happen, but that is my goal. So there's that, and I have to turn around here right-handed all the way. I have to always work from this side. Oh, I really just botched that totally. Okay, let me come back in here. All right, so what I just did is I totally slipped and lost my alignment, and I'm just going to use my awl here and find that hole again so that I know my center is lined up, and then I'm going to re-clip this so that I've got the whole thing there. I didn't have it clipped to the envelope too. That will help us hold it in place there. Okay, all right, let's try that again. Of course, things don't go perfectly when you're trying to film something, but that's okay because that's real life and that's how it happens. So it doesn't hurt to see the good and the bad of it. And here we are doing the same thing that I just said I hate, is the fishing bit. There we go. Okay. Go through here. I actually mostly sit up in the living room on my sofa when I stitch in signatures. I just find that I can do it pretty easily on my lap. But of course I can't film it up there. So we're doing things a little different here than normal. Definitely have better lighting here. Probably should always do it down here in the laboratory. All right, give it a little tug. Yeah, get a nice square knot there. And there we go. Okay, all right. So there's two of them. Okay. Now I'm just going to continue on stitching these signatures in. And if I come across anything interesting or something that I think that you should see, I'll turn the camera back on. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue to stitch all these signatures in until we're done. So I will see you in a few minutes. Bye. Just a quick flip here to make sure everything looks like it's lined up the way it should, that I didn't miss any pages. I've done that before too, miss pages in the middle. Everything is looking really good here. Okay. So you're getting a quick flip through here of everything that's in the book. Oh, look, I missed a signature. See, look at that. I missed that one altogether. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get that one in there, okay? There, put it about here. All right. Find the middle. Here it is. I'm going to get the clips on there. I believe I counted 11 signatures when I was doing this, which makes sense because there's 12 envelopes that constructing the base, so you'd have a signature between them. Pretty quick though. Here's this one. It also helps to just leave the all in there. I do that sometimes too, just leave it in that last hole. And then that just kind of helps to hold everything together until you get to that point. Okay. All right. I hope I didn't miss any other ones, you guys. If I did, I will stitch them. I won't make you watch, okay? We're not hung up on anything. No, we're good. Okay. Just need to get that one end underneath the string here. Okay. That's why we have to do it. Boy, that would have been bad if I did. Well, I would have found that at some point. No worries. Right. Now let's see, that's where we were. This one's stitched. That's good. Alright, good. And then we're to the back for the other side flip here. Yeah, everything's good. I'm not a person that would normally do like a haul video, what they would call a haul video. It's not really anything I enjoy watching that much, and so I probably won't do one, but I considered it, you guys, because I went to our library used book sale today, and I can't believe the treasures that I found there. I was blown away. Some really amazing old books. Most of the people that were there at the sale were like looking for novels and things, and so nobody was even looking at the stuff that I wanted. And I even found a ton of stuff on a free table that I couldn't believe was free. So it was so fun. All right, everything is stitched.